Guess what, guys? We're back to some Aston Villa loving. It feels like in the past few weeks, all I've done is been complimentary about Aston Villa. And guess what? Today is going to be the same. And I'll tell you why, because I want to talk about their recruitment policy because they've been linked with two absolute gems this morning. So I'm making this video to tell you about how good their recruitment has actually been, but also what to expect from these two gems if they do eventually land them. And I want to start by talking about their recruitment because their recruitment over the past few years has been exceptional. And we're beginning to see exactly what the plan Aston Villa put together. Unai Emery, Monchi, and the scouting department are all clearly aligned. They've built that spine. I often say the first part of recruitment is to build that experienced spine that you can rely on, and that's exactly what Aston Villa have done with the likes of Boubacar Kamara, Ollie Watkins, Morgan Rogers, John McGinn, Yuri Tillemans, Pau Torres, Mings, Konza, Martinez. I know some of them were already at the club, but a lot of them that they've brought in have had a vast amount of experience before they come in, despite their age, and they're all bringing quality, maturity, and leadership. But now that Aston Villa have reached their target number one, which was UEFA Champions League football, can they look to replace certain players with better qualities to take them to the next step? Now, I want to look at some of their players, and I'll take my big head out the way. So if we look at some of their players, it's got a nice blend of experienced and youth with experience. So what I'm talking about is Pau Torres, 28. Unbelievable amount of experience. Konza, 27. They've got these mature heads in their squad, but they've also got a nice balance of still quite young, but very experienced, like Unana, like Jacob Ramsey, like Morgan Rogers. And now they're starting to add in the Rashfords, the Donnell Mallins, the Marco Asensios, even Ollie Watkins, 29 now. The way he moves, you wouldn't expect him to be 29. And he brings that experience, that know-how, somebody that's been there and done it. So what are they missing? Some absolute gems to just develop, to learn from these guys. And they're starting to show that they are putting trust in you with the inclusion of Andreas Garcia, with Bogard playing a lot of minutes and doing very well recently as well. They're giving these youths a platform to develop. Even Jacob Ramsey, although he was 23, Aston Villa are giving him that platform to develop. So they've built that spine of the team, and I always talk about this being a priority. Build that spine of the team, and then you add on the luxury additions. Think of it like a Sunday dinner. You've got your main dish, which is the protein, either chicken, lamb, turkey, beef, whatever you want to have in your main. So you've got your main blocks, and then you add on that bit of magic, that bit of someone that's going to tickle your taste buds, like the parsnips, like the roasties, like the carrots, like the Brussels sprouts if you want to. And that's what I'm talking about. Unai Emery and Monchi have clearly had a plan to bring in a lot of players with a lot of similar attributes, and the combination of physicality and technical ability. And even when they lose a player like Douglas Luiz, they've got a replacement. Identify a player that they want to bring in straight away, and that was Amadou Onana. And then when they lost John Duran late in the transfer window, they didn't sulk about it. What did they do? Bring in experienced players that will replace and bring in a better squad depth to Aston Villa, showing ambition in the transfer market. So now they've built their house, built their foundations, built their infrastructure, and reached certain targets like the UEFA Champions League. Now they're competing at the top end of the Premier League. It's now to think about how can we improve this for the future and make sure we sustain this level. And that's why they're looking to identify these young talents, these prospects, to really develop in their core group and be a part of Aston Villa's short-term and long-term success. And I woke up this morning and I seen that Aston Villa were interested in and linked to two Greek young talents. And this doesn't surprise us because these profiles are exactly what Unai Emery likes. When you think of Morgan Rogers, when you think of Jacob Ramsey, when you think Amadou Onana, they've got a combination of physicality and technical ability. Now, I first came across these guys properly because I knew them beforehand was last year's UEFA Youth League, where they took Olympiacos all the way to the final and won the competition for the first time in their history. And these two players were absolute crucial and standouts to their success. Now they've been integrated into the first team, and as soon as they got into that first team, they don't look like slowing down. They've earned their spot in that first team, and their reasons why Olympiacos have won 22 games unbeaten. So I'm going to tell you about them and tell you what I know about them. And in all honesty, I'm probably going to butcher these names. So if I do, I apologize in advance. And first up, we have Charalampos Kostoulas. Did I get that right? Let us know in the comments below. So who is he? Well, he's a 17-year-old striker who's versatile, can play as a second striker and an attacking midfielder. He actually played every single game in the youth league as a striker, but he's played the majority of his games in the senior team as an attacking midfielder. So I'm going to talk about his profile and his attributes, and he's got a similar profile to Morgan Rogers. He's actually had similar upbringings positionally to Morgan Rogers, where he has played as a centre forward. He's often played as a left winger, not as much as playing an attacking midfielder. So he's got that versatility and he's got that unique combination, what I think Unai Emery looks for in a player: physicality, technical ability and versatility. Now, I often say that you bring in the right profiles to fit your system, and I actually do think this is a perfect profile for Unai Emery's system, because he's got that pace, power, strength, that robust physicality. He's an excellent ball carrier. There's two types of ball carriers. There's a ball carrier like David Silva, that's very elegant and twists and turns. Or there's a ball carrier like Morgan Rogers, that's powerful, explosive. He's the latter. He's more like Morgan Rogers, using his physique, but he's also got that box presence. He's comfortable finishing off both feet. He's got good box instincts for a young player. He's got good link-up play, and he's excellent at running the channels. And what I like about him is his in-game maturity. His game differs depending on where he's playing. If he's playing as a centre forward, he doesn't mind that hold-up play, using his strength to hold off defenders, to be an outlet for his team, hold up the ball, bring others into play with short passing sequences. And then again, when he's playing as a second striker or an attack midfielder, he brings all the qualities as he does as a centre forward: the pace, power, strength, the robust physicality, powerful ball carrier, dynamic runs, but he tends to be more of a box crusher. And what I mean by that is arriving in the box late. And when he's on the ball, he tends to be more incisive, looking for runs, trying to play the weighted pass in behind. So he's got this exciting ability to mix up his game depending on his role. Now, I could also see him playing in the Jacob Ramsey role, because Aston Villa like their left winger to come inside and use the channels, try and support their centre forward, and he could absolutely play that role. So he brings everything that Unai Emery wants in a centre forward. Now, I'm not trying to sit here and say he's a finished article, because he's absolutely not. And there's still a lot of rawness to him. But the profile, the attributes are exactly what Aston Villa do right now, and also look for in the future with Unai Emery. And it's funny, because this guy and the next guy I'm about to talk about is what I've been crying for in Newcastle United. I've been saying since UEFA Youth League last year that Newcastle United should be signing these two players. I've been tweeting about it, and funny enough, it's Aston Villa. You make us jealous. But I'm so surprised these links are not Nottingham Forest, because of their links between their owner, Olympiacos, and Nottingham Forest. So I don't know if it's actually going to happen, but if it does happen, it's incredibly exciting. Now, there's one other player that has been mentioned, and that's Christos Mouzakitis. Now, this guy really excites me. And again, I'm not trying to say he's a finished article, because he's absolutely not. And there's a lot of improvement and development that is needed. But I want to talk about his playing style and what Aston Villa could expect if they do land him in the summer. He's an 18-year-old centre midfielder. He's a left-footed number 8. So he's an all-action midfielder. He holds similarities to Adam Wharton, effective in all thirds of the pitch. He's got that combination of physicality and technical ability. Now, he also brings that versatility where he does play slightly forward or slightly deeper, but I like him in a double pivot. I think he's perfect for the left side of a double pivot for Aston Villa, because he's really active with his movement, excellent at finding space. He's happy receiving the ball deep under pressure. He's comfortable, and he's extremely dangerous with his expansive passing range. He's so good at dictating play with his passing range. He can pull off all types of passes, whether that be long passes, switches of play, passes from deep, chip passes, well-weighted passes to the feet of a teammate or in space and behind. His passes are extremely accurate and crisp. Because he's so technically gifted, he's so glorious with the ball at his feet. And he's got a mature head on his shoulders. He moves the ball well, often making the right decisions. And I say often because sometimes he does make the wrong decisions, but he's comfortable in tight spaces. And what I like about him the most is how forward thinking he is. And I think this, again, goes into the Aston Villa system Can we play forwards? Can we break quickly? And that's what Aston Villa are very good at. And obviously, once he gets more experience, more mature, he's got that ability to find a pass from anywhere on the pitch. And you can just see it now with the likes of Morgan Rogers running behind, Jacob Ramsey using the channel runs. He's got that ability to find, but he's not just a luxury player in possession. He's also got tenacious attitude out of possession. He's got this nice channeled aggression from him, and he provides clean and well-timed interventions. He can tackle, he can intercept, he can block, he doesn't mind getting physical. So he's got all the attributes to work hard off the ball, and he certainly does that. Now, I'll say it again, I'll be really surprised if Nottingham Forest allow these two talents to go to Aston Villa. Again, I'm not saying everything's going to work out and it's all going to be hunky and rosy and they're going to come and just absolutely bully dog the Premier League, because every transfer is a risk. I don't believe that they can compete in that league. I think it's about the environment and the infrastructure that you bring a player into. And I kind of feel like Aston Villa have put together a nice environment, nice culture in their team to bring in these players, and it'll allow them to learn, develop and thrive. But I do believe if rumours are to be true, these are the types of players that will make Aston Villa a sustainable Champions League team. Yes, you might not finish it one year, but the next year you might, because there's loads of teams competing for it. But at least you're competing for the Champions League, and that's where you want to be. Eventually, you want to be competing for the Premier League. That's the dream. But this sort of future planning is exactly why I'm excited about Aston Villa's future. But I want to hear your thoughts. Now that I've told you a little bit about the players, let me know your thoughts. Are these players somebody that you've watched or you would be excited and happy to bring in? Let me know in the comments below. But until next time, and I'm sure there will be a next time, up the Villa.